Watching Cyberpunk in its original form as a pen and paper game evolve into what it is today has been fascinating because it tells me a lot about how people relate to the game.
So you're an evil blogger.
I am an influencer.
What's up, guys?
What it tells me is that a lot of the questions that people have about where we're going with technology and the sociology of our culture are now much more present in people's minds. And I think it calls out to people more than it did 20, 30 years ago because the questions it asks are right in our faces today.
Renters' rights, sir.
That's not a thing in 2020.
I love the genre because it has two really cool things in it. One, it has technology being used in ways that you normally don't think of technology being used. Usually we think of technology as being used for the purpose it was created. And that means it's got that sort of element of science and procedure and so forth. This is like somebody using a phaser to do barbecue work. That's what Cyberpunk is about. One of the things I find most interesting and is analogous between 2020 and the real world is that usually technology has been something coming from the top down. But the ubiquitousness of phones and communications and video and art and all of these elements mean that the street can make its own versions of it. It doesn't have to come from one group. And that's always going to be in conflict with the people who want to maintain power and who want things to be under their thumb. The other thing it has, though, is that kind of rock and roll, get in there and do it because the cause is right and it's righteous. The difficult part about nailing the feeling of 2020 and bringing it over to 2077 is two-part. The first one is to realize it isn't all about grim, dangerous, and painful. That there's a sense of rebellion, of fighting back, of hell-raising that should come with that. It's why it's cyberpunk, not just cyber pain. There is a up against the man, in-your-face quality, and that's the punk side of cyberpunk that I really love. The other thing is to make sure that in 2077, people are aware of the complexity of the world. That it's not just all one style or feeling or look or building or type of person. That it represents that amazing multicultural everything stew that we're evolving into now. We have so many things that make up a cyberpunk future. And the big trick I think Cyberpunk has done over the years is to have synthesized many, many different cyberpunk writers' styles, many different articulations of cyberculture into one place. It's fluid and it's always changing because the genre is fluid and always changing. What I love about the PNP is the reality of it. The fact that we didn't just pull the ideas, concepts, and technologies out of nowhere. We built them on things that we could actually tangibly back in reality. For example, when we did cyberware, we sat down with a guy who was a neurosurgeon and we said, how do we make this stuff work? How do we implant it? What's the surgical procedures? What can we get away with? When I first started dealing with the CDPR on 2077, I don't think they knew that I'd worked in video games, and I think they discovered that was an asset because I could look at the issues they were going to have to deal with in making a video game as opposed to a paper game. I could look at things that were easy to describe in pen and paper that would be amazingly difficult to do in an electronic game. What I like is the fact that we go back and forth. We look at what's the best way we can make this particular thing in a game work for people. Well, how can we make this feel right, even if the medium that is built in is very different than the way it started. The game we have right now is pretty damn close to what I would have built if I had built it alone myself in a broom closet. I look at things in there and I just go, oh my God, that's perfect. That's just downright perfect. But to get that kind of perfection does take time. It takes iteration. If we're going to do stuff that has never been done before or has never been done the way we're doing it, we need space, we need time, and we need kind of the privacy to let it mull over. If we have too many cooks in the kitchen, we're not going to get a good dinner out of it.